Hi Confirmands, thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Wow, we are through a big chunk of our learning so far about the Old Testament. We're actually ready to take a little bit of a break here after this lesson and our Zoom that we're going to have on Sunday. I can't wait to talk with you then and see all sorts of things that you've had insights, questions about what we've been learning about in the Old Testament. We've learned a lot, all the way from creation to where we talked last week about the establishment of the monarchy for the people of Israel. Remember, we talked about creation, we talked about the story of Exodus, the people of Israel getting to the promised land under the leadership of Moses, the judges, those tribal leaders, and then the kings. And now we're into a new part of the story. There's still kings involved, God is still there, promising the covenant relationship with God's chosen people, the people of Israel. But here's some bad news. This is not a happy story. We're going to be talking about the Babylonian Captivity. This means that for the people of Israel, an opposing force, an opposing army, the people of Babylon and their kings and their gods, they were an overwhelming force for the people of Israel, and they win military battles, and they are able to go then and capture the people of Israel, and they kick them out basically of Jerusalem. And so these people are what are considered exiles. They're no longer living in their land, and they're held captive in the land of Babylon. Now, we've been talking about God's covenant relationship with God's people, these promises God makes. And remember, we've also been talking about that a lot of the times the people don't live up to this covenant relationship. So I think we can talk a little bit about consequences to actions. Now, a consequence is just simply something that's the direct result of an action. So a consequence might be that if you're climbing up a tree and you fall down, the pain you might have as a result of falling down is a consequence. There's also an idea of punishment, that when you do something, another force gives you a punishment, a disciplinary action. And so we can ask ourselves, what's going on here in the relationship with the people of God and with God? Are these consequences or are these punishments? And so we have to remind ourselves of the covenant that God has given these people. And when we think of the stories we've learned about, we learned about Moses and the 10 Commandments. And as we looked at those 10 Commandments, one of them is that you shall have no other gods. You shall make no idols. And we saw that even right in the book of Exodus, the people of Israel were all too ready to make another idol instead of honoring their relationship with God. And that continues into this time where we see the Babylonians coming into the picture. And so we can see that this covenant relationship with God is always kind of a challenge for the people. And we're asked to consider for ourselves as we learn this history, are we living into our relationship with God? And it's kind of a tough thing to know that there are consequences to our actions, and they exist right in time for us. Yet we always know that God is seeking relationship with us. Even though God's people don't do the right thing all the time, there may be some consequences, but as we have been learning throughout the Old Testament, God never leaves the people. We'll hear more stories of the Old Testament when we get back to confirmation after our break, and we'll be seeing how God continues to come to the people with truth, calling them to right action and right relationship with God, and continually reaching out in that covenant relationship. And as we continue to study in confirmation, we'll learn how these covenants, how this relationship with God helps us live as people of faith, and we'll even connect this covenant into the saving grace of Jesus. So we have this idea of the stories of the Babylonian captivity in the Old Testament. It's a time for the people of God to consider the covenant relationship and try to turn themselves around, reorient to right relationship with God. So that's all about the Babylonian captivity. Thank you so much for all of your participation these past few weeks as we've learned about the Old Testament, sending in your email answers. And I do have one last challenge for you today, and it's actually going to be for our Zoom meeting that we're having. I want you to bring in one of your favorite fun facts that you learned about the Bible through these videos, or one question that you have. So when we go around in our breakout room during Zoom confirmation, that you'll have something that you are recalling from our lessons, one fun fact that you learned or one question that you have. And we'll talk about those facts and those answers together as we continue to learn about God. Again, I do really appreciate you taking the time to watch, for you being here. And remember, we're so focused on talking about relationship with God, and one of the best ways that we can see our relationship with God and work on it is to pray. So make sure you're saying your prayers on your own or with your family, and I can't wait to talk with you on Zoom here soon. Take care.